Hello everyone and welcome to another match reaction on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy and I'm the host for tonight's show. What a game we witnessed earlier this afternoon as Liverpool defeated Chelsea 2-1 at Anfield. I found the game very frustrating to watch as the referee was absolutely shocking today. He was definitely Chelsea's 12th man today and they still couldn't beat us. So let's begin the show with a match review. Then I'll present my player ratings. This is also a calling show. So if you'd like to come on and have your say, I've pinned the link in the live chat, so feel free to join later on the show and I'll get you on after the player ratings. So let's begin with the first half. Chelsea could easily have had a man sent off as Tosin fouls Jota on the counter-attack around the halfway line. Now, Tosin was given a yellow card for that incident, but honestly, it could have easily been a red card. As if you watched the game yesterday for Arsenal, Saliba got sent off for something that was very similar. In fact, it was probably almost a carbon copy moment as it was around the same part of the pitch. So for me, Tosin gets away with that one, if you ask me. Chelsea were very close to breaking the deadlock moments later as Palmer was set to pull the trigger inside the box, but Curtis Jones makes a fantastic last-ditch tackle to block the Chelsea attacker. But then Curtis Jones was involved moments later in the other end this time as Salah takes a shot that hits Curtis Jones on the back. He rotates his body to face the ball and then you see Colwell fouling him from behind in the box. Terrible tackle from the Chelsea defender who looked surprised and bemused by that decision. But for me, it was a right call from the referee. Probably one of little things that got in terms of Liverpool's decision there. In terms of the penalty, Mohamed Salah steps up and smashes it into the corner to give Liverpool the lead. Liverpool should have extended the lead as they hit Chelsea with a counter-attack. Lovely pass from Salah to Gakpo with the outside of his foot. Gakpo hits a first-hand pass towards OZZWRLD, who's driving into the area, through on goal, but his tame effort is straight at the keeper. He seemed a bit off balance before he shot, but for me, he should have buried it. Huge opportunity to extend the lead. Liverpool then have a penalty shout as Curtis Jones is fouled inside the box. He's through on goal. The goalkeeper Sanchez comes sliding in and completely takes Jones out. And Jones ends up doing a 360 front flip as a sort of a reaction from that challenge there. For me, that's definitely a penalty. Some will argue and say Sanchez got the ball first before Jones flipped over. But if you look at the angle from behind, it is very clear that Jones kicks the ball through his legs. So in my opinion, the keeper didn't get enough of the ball to suggest that he actually blocked that whole attack. His clumsy challenge completely swiped out Curtis Jones clean, and Liverpool should have been awarded with a second penalty. Unfortunately, that was not the case as it was ruled out by the referee who went over to the monitor. For me, I think if Curtis Jones had hit the shot with a bit more power, then the outcome would have been different. He seemed to have invited the challenge from the keeper, so that probably swayed the referee's decision to not give the penalty. Cole Palmer has a very late chance before the halftime whistle as he hits a shot from inside the box, but his effort goes just over the bar. Maybe should have done better there and possibly at least hit the target. But Konate's sliding effort to block his shot may have put him off in that moment. So that's the first half. In the second half, Chelsea started the game very positively as Nicholas Jackson hits the back of the net with a very neat finish. He seemed offside at first, but after VAR reviewed it, it was quite clear that Konate kept him on side and the goal was rightfully rewarded. But Liverpool wasted no time to respond, and it was Curtis Jones who took the charge and added another goal to the tally. Lovely pass from Mohamed Salah to pick Jones out. His first touch was slightly heavy, but he does fantastically well to hit the shot with the outside of his foot and extend the lead to 2-1. Liverpool tried to add another one through Cody Gakpo, but his shot from the left-hand side was high and wide. Lovely pass from Mohamed Salah with the through ball. Chelsea then showed moments later in the second half to try and get the equaliser. Madueke has a right-footed shot, but his effort goes straight at the keeper. Then Cole Palmer also has a shot from inside the box, similar to Curtis Jones blocking his effort. This time it was Szoboszlai with the interception. Pedro Neto, who comes on as a second half sub, drives infield and gets past Trent Alexander-Arnold. He takes a right-footed shot, but his effort was dragged wide. Szoboszlai at fault there. He gives the ball away in that attack. Luis Diaz, who's just come off the bench at that time, almost makes an instant impact with a shot from the edge of the box, but the keeper makes a routine save in the near post. And towards the latter stage of the game, the officials gave 7 minutes of stoppage time, which sounded completely ludicrous at the time. And I have no idea where that name came from. And you see Arne Slot's reaction on the touchline as well, completely bewildered by that number. Chelsea thought they got the equaliser in this 92nd minute through Renato Vega's close range header, but his effort goes over the bar. Luis Diaz has one final attack with a shot from the edge of the box, but his effort is sliced and goes wide off the mark. That is the final score. Liverpool 2, Chelsea 1. Overall, a great win for the Reds. Some may say it's a statement win for the neutrals who didn't consider Liverpool a threat for the title. Their views may change after today's result. For me, the crowd was really good, really vocal today. It felt like a cup game. It had that kind of atmosphere, which is probably why I was a bit more, direct in the way I was speaking during my watch along, because I really felt that today. But the reason why I felt frustrated whilst watching that watch along, the ref, he was absolutely shocking today. Any time a Liverpool player touched a Chelsea player, he's not even giving them a foul. He's giving them a yellow card. So it was just crazy in terms of what was happening in the second half. And I feel like I was the only one feeling it. I saw Arne Slot and his coaching staff feeling that frustration, and they were showing their expressions definitely during the game. So for me, ref was certainly the 12th man. It felt like it at times. But look, as frustrating as these games can be, we got the win in the end, and that's the main thing. As I mentioned, Arne Slot was very animated on the touchline. Probably the first time I've seen him like that, to be fair. And I'm sure many of us were like that today at home. But hey, look, we remain at the top of the table, a point away from Man City, who are in second place. Arsenal have dropped points due to their defeat yesterday against Bournemouth, and they are now 4 points away from us. Good news for Liverpool is that we face Arsenal next week. So that lead could be extended, and it also looks like Saliba could be out for that fixture due to suspension. But we'll talk about that fixture in the coming days. For now, let's complete the show and do the player rating. So let me share the graphics with you guys. We can begin. So let's begin with Kelleher. So didn't make a huge number of saves. So there's not a lot of things that I can pinpoint in terms of his performance today. In terms of his distribution, he did quite well. Couple of nervous moments where Van Dijk was taking a goal kick and they were passing it amongst each other in the deep area. Almost gave the ball away at some occasions. So didn't breathe too much confidence in me when I was seeing that. The goal that they scored, arguable to say he maybe should have done better there. It was a good run from Nicholas Jackson's point of view, and he slotted in fantastically well. But Kelleher just, it looked like he just closed his eyes and then just hoped for a block or some sort of nature to that extent. But yeah, it didn't look like he was under control. He didn't really know what he was going to do in regards to saving the shot. So maybe pinpointing something that's a bit small there, but I don't think he had a standout performance, and I didn't think he had a bad game either. It's just I didn't see anything to suggest that he gets a high score for today. So for me, I'm going to give him an average score of 7 out of 10. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I was actually very impressed with his performance today. He was up against two tricky opponents. In the first half, he was up against Jadon Sancho, who I thought did really well for Chelsea. He looked like the main source of creativity, especially from that left side. And every time he got the ball, he had this bit of speed about him, a bit of a spring in his touch where he would get past 2-3 players. And I feel like he looked like he was getting more confident as the game went on. But he was substituted at halftime, which I thought was a bit of a strange decision from Maresca. I actually would have kept Jadon Sancho on and then brought on Neto for the right side, but that wasn't the tactic that he deployed. And then, as I mentioned his name, Neto came on as a halftime sub, and he occupied that left wing position at first, and in the end, ended up switching to the right wing with Nkuku on the left side. So for me, that is a good indication that Trent Alexander-Arnold did his job, because they had to switch wingers as their plan B. So defensively, I thought he was really good today. He had to be fully focused in terms of his defensive duties. He wasn't very attack-minded today. He inverted a couple of times in the first half, but nothing major where I felt like he was trying to, break the team in terms of his passing or open up defenses. I feel like he kept it very simple today, defensively sound. But I was very impressed with Trent's performance. So for me, he gets a score of I'll give him an 8 out of 10. Kanate, actually, do you know what? I might give him a little bit higher. Drop a comment, let me know what you think. I think I might give him 8.5, just due to the fact that he had to face two tough opponents, and I think he did really well up against it. Didn't really get exposed. They didn't really get the best out of him, so I think he had a standout performance. So I'm going to give him an 8.5. Konate, I think he had a solid game today. Nothing that really, stood out for me in terms of him making any errors. Some fans might say that the goal that they scored, he should have done better to keep onside, but it was like literally inches. So when we've got the luxury of watching replays in slow motion, all that sort of stuff, I can't really fault Konate for his position there. At the time, he probably thought he was perfectly lined up. So it's just little details where you can't blame the player for staying offside position. If it was like a good 3 yards away, then 100% he would definitely get the blame. But I think that's a bit harsh to put the blame on Konate in terms of not being in the correct position for that moment there. So for me, I think he had a solid game today. Made a couple of interceptions, and yeah, he was dominant as ever. So I don't think he had a bad game at all. So for me, he gets an 8 out of 10. Virgil van Dijk, another solid performance from him. For me, just looks dominating, whether it's on or off the ball. Made a few shoulder barges in terms of using his physical presence today. So definitely made them aware that he's around. And they're passing wise, decent passing throughout the game. Another good performance from the captain. Can't really fault him for anything that happened during the game. So he'll get an 8.5 out of 10. Robertson had a decent game. I'd probably say he was less involved from an attacking point of view. He's more defensively focused today. The only thing is that I feel like Madueke got a lot of the ball in the first half and got past Robertson with quite a bit of ease. So that's something I feel like he maybe should have done a bit better. Maybe be a bit more tighter when it comes to marking or using his physical presence a bit more, because when it comes to tackling, Robertson can be very aggressive, but I didn't really see much of that today. He did show moments of it during the game, but for me, maybe not enough. So I think he had a good game, but not as good as the others in the back line. So his rating will be a 7.5 out of 10. Gravenberch, yeah, his stock continues to rise. Really good performance from him today again. Really good use of the ball. There was one moment I've forgotten who the player was, but he just completely showed the bar to someone and made his presence known. I love seeing that from a midfielder, and he's growing with so much confidence now that he's making his presence known. He's showing people that he's the man. He's the one that they've got to go past in the middle of the park to open up Liverpool. So for me, a good solid performance from him once again. So his score today, I'll give him an 8 out of 10. Jones, wow, what a performance from him. I'll probably say it's one of his best performances in a Liverpool shirt. I thought he was really good today. From beginning to end in terms of his performance today, he was phenomenal. Whether it's from a defensive point of view, from an attacking point of view, he was everywhere today. He was a complete midfielder where defensively he was tracking back, he was making blocks, lots of interceptions, holding the ball very well, laying off the passes to other players around him in a good manner, but also helping out the attack, being a driving force. He was pretty much involved with every moment that was around today in terms of key moments in this game. The first goal came through him as well in terms of his passing. The penalty, he was the one that got fouled by Colwell. The penalty shout that we should have got, that involved him, and then he scored the second goal for us as well. So it was definitely a game that referenced Curtis Jones in every shape or form, and obviously it was a special moment for him, who he just became a father last week to a baby girl. So a proud one for him and his family, and he rounded off with a Man of the Match award in the end. So for me, I can't give him any other score. 10 out of 10. And he's my man of the match, clearly. I don't think anyone else is going to get 10 out of 10. So he was fantastic. Really, really good performance. And a nice headache for Arne Slot in terms of the upcoming fixtures. We've got Red Bull Leipzig is it Wednesday? And then we've got Arsenal next Sunday as well. So interesting to see if he continues to play Jones in that fixture, or does he rotate? I'll probably play Jones against Red Bull Leipzig, if I'm being honest, and then play McAllister in the Arsenal game. Continue his form going forward, and have him available off the bench for the Arsenal game, because that would be a good player to have to make an impact. So, no, very, very impressive him. I always knew he had this kind of performance in him. A lot of people ask, why isn't Curtis Jones, a starter? Well, it's very hard to be a starter in a Liverpool team, first of all. But secondly, I think over the years, when he first broke into his team, he was a very attack-minded player. So there are areas of his game that he really needs to improve. But as the years has gone on, and under Jurgen Klopp's coaching, he's definitely improved that side of his game. I even remember Jurgen Klopp in a press conference saying that, if Curtis Jones can defend, so can anyone else. So it was not a slight dig, but it's just kind of emphasizing that, he's a very attack-minded player, but I've made him or molded him into a complete player now. So for me, it's just consistency, and a lot comes down to having that sort of rhythm when you're playing. Some players, they need to play consecutive games to find that rhythm and confidence. But I think Jones has been unlucky with injuries over the years, where he'll get a few run of games and then pick up a small injury, and then it's taking 2 steps back before he takes a few steps forward. So for me, he's always going to be around that first team. So he's a very good player to have in the squad. Can play multiple positions, can play in the double pivot, can play as a 10, can play left side if required. So no, for me, really, really good performance. We're really happy for him today. So in terms of his rating, 10 out of 10. And I might as well just label him as my man of the match. No point of sugarcoating any further. He is my man of the match today. Mohamed Salah, in terms of his performance, I thought he was really good today. He was definitely attacking that byline a lot more. Definitely tried to make his presence felt. He had a tricky opponent in Gusto, a right back playing left back, right-footed player there. That was definitely tactically driven there to sort of cut his influence in the game, but when Salah cuts in field, but at the same time, Gusto inverting and then being like an extra sort of creative presence in their final third. But I think Salah was very direct today, very much involved in the way Liverpool playing. Some of his passing today, some of his passing today was sublime. The through ball, he's got this trademark now where his through ball he hits it with the outside of his foot. So yeah, I was impressed in terms of his sort of playmaking ability today. Obviously scored the penalty, which was a fantastic strike, and provided the assist for the Curtis Jones, and that was with the outside as well. I think so. No, overall, very very pleased with Salah's performance today. His score, excuse me, I'll give him an 8.5 out of 10. I'm gonna have to have another sip of water because I've got a lot to talk about in terms of OZZWRLD. Unfortunately, I think it was the weak link today for Liverpool. Some will say it's been a weak link for a number of weeks now, but today he wasn't good. I'll give you pros and cons. So in terms of the pros, you can never discredit his effort on the pitch. He will always give it his all. So energetic, works for the team, presses from the front. So he did that very well. If I'm rating that, he's probably going to get 8 or 9 out of 10. But there's other parts of his games where I feel like he really needs to work on and needs to be a bit more efficient. A part of me feels like because he's running around so much, he's getting tired a lot more. So his decision making in the final third is costing him and costing the team at some point as well, because he's not doing things instinctively. He's very slow to react in the final third. And sometimes he's caught in two minds. So when you're not playing your natural game or you're playing with a tired mind, it does have an effect in your overall outcome. So today, there was a lot of moments where his final pass was poor. He had a shot in the second half where normally he would have smashed that in the top bin, but as like he just got his foot wrong, and then the space between his foot and the ball was like quite short, so he didn't really have a um, lot of power in that shot, and ended up going straight at the keeper, and he just dropped to the ground, so he was a bit off balance. And there was moments in the game where gave the ball away on quite a few occasions, especially in the second half. I was disappointed with his performance today. I feel like this is a system, a formation that should really tailor his skill set, and I think he should really flourish. But he's showing elements of his game that, yes, it suits his natural game. But the bread and butter of being a number 10, you've got to hit the back of the net. You've got to provide assists. I don't think he's actually playing like a traditional number 10, so it's probably a bit of injustice in terms of his positional sense. I feel like he's playing like a number 8, but just has a bit more of a free roll slightly because he's tracking back a lot. He's defending for the team. He's pressing from the front. So he's been overworked, let's be honest, but I still feel like he needs to be a bit more smart and more calculated then. If he's playing this role, he doesn't need to run around as much as he does then. Maybe reserve that energy, reserve that engine for later on in the game where, when you're through on goal, you have that mindset to be a bit more direct with your attacks, whether it's long shots or whether it's threading the perfect pass. His decision making is costing his overall performance because, like I mentioned earlier on, in terms of his effort, his pressing, his energy on the pitch, he's getting 8, 9 out of 10 because he's doing so much for the team. But this is football. At the end of the day, if you're not showing the end product, if you're giving away passes and you're taking tame efforts on goal, and you're not really getting the numbers in terms of GA and all that sort of stuff, these are the things that are looked upon. And Arne Slot has mentioned this in press conferences that he needs to improve his tally, especially if he wants to remain in the team as a number 10. So OZZWRLD has a lot of work to do, and I'm one of his big fans. I rate him very highly. I was very pleased that we signed him last year. But at the same time, I have to be honest, I haven't been impressed with him this season. I feel like he's shown glimpses of his talent, but he's been so frustrating to watch as well because I know what he's capable of. I know that he's got a great shot on him, but he's just not showing that in the Liverpool shirt. So, look, I haven't given up on him. I do feel like he will come good. It's just that he needs to work harder in that sort of attacking sense. And maybe something from in the training ground where he's, shooting a lot more in terms of shooting practice. Uh, I don't know. I think the shooting practice might really help him because that's the area where he's really like suffering. There was a moment today where he had 2-3 touches, he was about to shoot, ended up having an extra touch, and the ball just goes away from him. This was towards the latter stage of the second half. So Bosley would have done one touch and a bang shot towards the goal. Whether it goes in or not is another situation, but he would have got a clean strike on target, and that's what you want from your number 10, from your attacker. So I don't know. I think he's got a lot of work to do. And look, if he continues this way or this kind of form towards the end of the season, this could be a position that needs addressing next summer. And I don't want to say this sort of out loud or think, too far ahead. But it could be a position where Liverpool needs to strengthen. I know we have Harvey Elliott, but we haven't seen him much so far this season. And that's another thing. If this form in the short term continues, Harvey Elliott will definitely get a stake in this team. And if he flourishes, which is a strong possibility, then his minutes will be numbered, unfortunately. So if Sabozlai wants to remain in the lineup, he needs to do much better in terms of his final end product. So in terms of his performance today, unfortunately, I can't give him a very high score. Some might even say I'm being very generous right now. I'm giving him a 6 out of 10. And that's due to his hard work, his pressing. He made that one crucial block through Cole Palmer, who almost scored from that moment there. So, I'm trying to raise the pros and cons, but the cons have definitely not helped in terms of his overall rating. So he needs to work on his game and do a lot better in the upcoming fixtures. Gakpo, decent game today. Wasn't as involved as I would have liked him. Had a few shots on goal that were a bit more sort of wayward efforts, but not a decent performance. Not as good as his performances in the Champions League where he was spectacular. But I thought he was decent too. So for me, I'll give him 7.5 out of 10. Jota, unfortunately, didn't play a majority of the game due to that moment that he had with Tosin where they clashed and then he fell to ground. I think he might have landed a bit awkwardly because he seemed to be a bit winded after that. I'm hoping it's not a serious injury. I've not heard anything. If anyone else has, please leave a comment. Leave a comment in the chat. Hopefully, it's not like a broken rib or anything to that nature, because that could be quite sore and it could be a lengthy time for him to be on the sideline as well. So I can't give him a very high rating because he didn't play that much. Probably give him a 6. I feel that's a bit harsh. I'll give him a 7. So I feel like he wasn't poor. So I'll just give him a 7 out of 10 just to kind of balance it out. And that's my rating for the first 11. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Before we close the show, I will also discuss the substitutes that came on. So Darwin Núñez came on for Jota in the first half. And then we also had Luis Diaz on for Cody Gakpo. Excuse me. There we go. And then we also had Joe Gomez coming on for Trent Alexander-Arnold. And then the final sub was McAllister on for Curtis Jones. There we go. So let's start with Darwin Núñez. I was very, very impressed with his performance today. I thought it was so good. Literally, as soon as he came on the pitch, he was aggressive. But it was the first thing that he did. I remember he flicked it behind to Salah, and then Salah gave him a through ball. And from then on, he just looked really up for it. And honestly, there were parts of his game I was very impressed in terms of his hold-up play. Uh, he just did everything right. Like he didn't make a lot of errors today. In terms of being offside, I think he was offside once or twice, uh, which is not an improvement to say the least. But no, I think whatever was asked from him, he delivered. In the second half, he got in a bit of a tussle with Badishile, which may have took the edge of his game a little bit. But I thought he was a constant menace. I thought he did really well today. Very impressive with him. So if Jota is out for a while, I will probably have a bit of confidence using Darwin Núñez in upcoming games because of the performance he produced today. So in terms of his rating, this might seem high, but I'm just gonna say how I'm giving it 8.5. I thought he was really good today. Really, really impressed with his overall game. If he got the goal, that would have definitely solidified his performance a bit higher there. But overall, I'm very, very pleased with his performance today. Next player, Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz definitely made his sort of presence known. He was very direct in his runs. Couple of moments where I feel like his decision making should have been better. There's one moment where I remember he was on the left wing and he just needed to pass to Darwin Núñez with a little bit of pace, not too much. End up hitting it so hard that it goes past Darwin Núñez and the tackle's gone. So slight sort of decision making wasn't quite there, and had a couple of shots. Some trouble to keeper, some went high and wide. But he had a decent cameo off the bench today. So for me, I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Who else do we have? McAllister. Yeah, he definitely came on and did his thing as well. Passing wise, definitely was a bit more forward. I remember making a couple of through balls for Diaz and Darwin Núñez. So good to see him back in action. I know he picked up an injury for Argentina. So I'm not sure in terms of how far he is in terms of his full fitness. But today, decent cameo. Can't really say he did great or not. So I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10. And for Joe Gomez, he came on. He definitely added a bit more of a balance on that right side, having a more defensive-minded right back. I remember him making a crucial block with Renato Vega, who was bombing down that left side. Two, big guys going at it, sort of thing. So no, decent performance. Didn't really make any errors or anything like that. Kept it simple. So for me, I'll give him a 6.5, like McAllister as well. And yeah, that is my final rating. So drop a comment, let me know what you guys think. And that is it for today's show. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. In terms of upcoming content, a lot is coming your way in the coming days. So tomorrow I'll be doing a Premier League review show at around 10 p.m. covering all of the games in Match Week 8. And I've started doing an FC25 career mode as well. So I'll be continuing my journey as a Liverpool manager. That show will be taking place at 11 p.m. tomorrow. Tuesday, we're doing a match preview of Red Bull Leipzig versus Liverpool. And then on Wednesday will be the match. So we'll do a live watch along plus match reaction of the Red Bull Leipzig versus Liverpool game. And then Thursday, we'll be doing the match preview of Arsenal versus Liverpool. And then next Sunday, we'll do a watch along for that game as well as the match reaction. So yeah, lots of content coming your way next week. So please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell so you know what time the shows will begin. And follow me at OZZIE'S on Instagram for all the latest updates. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.